Woo-wee, what's going on YouTube? It's Donnie B all day. And I'm doing something a little different today. A little different. It's late at night, so I can't just mosey on outside and do a review. It's not even that late. It's only like 8:30ish. But I can't just roll out. So what I want to do is show you something. Now these are two knives that I have. They're both bushcraft knives, like bushcraft survival style. That are, to me, just unsellable. I mean, they're just awesome. And I'm going to start with the sheaths. And we're going to go on a side-by-side kind of comparison and see what you get in these two knives. Now, this one is the sheath to the Tops Wilderness Guide 4.0. 4.0 being a 4-inch blade. And this is the sheath to the Toki by Condor. I have to say that my man Walter over at Condor designed the Toki, and I called it one of the world's most perfect knives, and I believe it to be true. This is pretty close. You know what I mean? It's almost there. And these guys are in range. When I'm talking perfect knives, the Outpost Command from Tops, I say all the time, this is like a perfect knife, right? It's just pretty much unflawed. There's not much you could ever want to change or do differently about that knife, except that awesome sheath. But these two are as close to perfect as you can get, and one is just a little bit more perfect. And rather than keep you in suspense, I'm going to tell you that the Toki, for me, is just a little bit better, but I'm not going to just tell you. I'm going to show you why. Now, as far as the sheaths are concerned, I like the Toki sheath way better. It's leather. It does have a flint banger there, so you can make spark. You do have your pouch and ferro rod or sharpener holder. You do have a ferro rod or sharpener, depending on what you want to throw in there, in the back. It's just got options all the way around. This one, while Molly compatible, and it covers the handle, which I have no need for, and it also has a pouch for goodies, and I don't even know what I have in here anymore. Oh yeah, you got the typical Tops don't touch my butt whistle. And I put in like a survival card and things like that. So I stuffed this one up because this is a knife I actually really like to use. And you'll see, because it's actually got some wear on it. But I don't know why I put a whistle in there. There's a whistle dangling on it. But this sheath I just like better. And Walter Matthews, the master behind the knife, signed it. And Walter Matthews is one of the greatest people on the planet. Now, the knives itself, I mean, they're pretty close to compare. They're really, really close. And I'm going to break down in a couple different ways. Looks, fit, style, basically. And then we're going to go, and then function. But as far as looks are concerned, Wilderness Guide by Tops, you can see it's got that 1, 2, 3-stage, 4-stage spine. You can see it has a really nice finger well. I do like the front of the grip there because it gives you thumb lands, things like that, for when you're doing nice tight work. And these you can use for bow holing, but they're not the most optimal. However, you can also use them for lashing, and they are very optimal. And then it drops really narrow in the pinky, and some people don't like that. They think, oh, well, that means you won't have enough. But the human hand closes like this, meaning the smallest part of the grip is the pinky. I can fit my pinky easily in this fist, and I have to squeeze it through that part because that's the tightest part. You see a lot of knife makers make this part of the knife tiny, teeny, and it's really stupid because that, and then they make the rear, it's the opposite of how the human hand works. So they do a great job, in my very skilled and learned opinion. They do a great job making it fit the human hand. It's got a really nice size to the grip. it's just all around really well done. It is very, very narrow though. It's a very skinny knife, which would mean it's going to wear well. But since it's in a very big sheath, what's the point? I don't know. So they could have went a little wider in the grip. This I believe is G10. The knife is just really super nice. You have some jimping. So as far as looks are concerned, this one looks fantastic. But let's look at the Toki. The Toki uses a micarta. Look at that bow hole. That bow hole is massive. Now this is for looks, not function, so we're going to not really talk about that or the striker there. Let's just talk about the drop. Look at this drop point. This thing is so well shaped. It's almost a spear point. It is really, really nicely done. Instead of finger wells and grooves, you have an open-ended hand, and you'll notice swelling, small, everything fits the hand great. Now on this knife, when you put your thumb on top, I have to say that is super comfortable, but that's what we're going to get into next. I keep wanting to forget. It's all about the looks. And I have to say, look for look, I don't know, it's kind of a tie. I think I love the look right here of how they made these scales come through, and it gives you a thumb rest on one side, and if you were going to use it the other way, you can actually rest a pinky on that for rip cuts and things like that. So I do like the front of that because it not only is it functional, which I was not supposed to talk about, but it just looks good. I think that has a really nice look to it. The front of the blade, it kind of looks stumpy because of all the angles, but it's still awesome. This one, I think, I honestly, I think the blade looks better on this one. I think the grip choice looks better on this one. I do like all the lashing holes. I really think that looks better on this one. I think the overall shape underneath looks better on this one. I think it might feel better on this one though. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell because I have really, really big hands. So having that extra girth right here, and you can really see the difference there. Having that extra girth fills the hand and it makes it feel like it's in my hand more securely. However, because this is slab-sided, it doesn't turn. So again, back to looks. I have to say it's a kind of a tie in looks. Durability, it's a tie in durability. Both of these are just made to go. Yeah, as far as all the stuff that comes on the knife, this one has more lashing points. They are both jimped. This one has a finger well. This one has a curved set of scales. This one has a giant bow hole, and it has a ferro rod striker. You can still strike up here or even with the ricasso if you want, but it does have that additional striker. So when it comes to things that the knife has, like just different abilities with the knife as far as parts that I don't even know how to explain it, things that can do other things, that's a tie. I mean, you're literally, I think they're, as far as looks are concerned, they're equally good looking, both in their own way. They both have different things that make the function work better in different ways. And not one is better than the other. This one is better for bow hole drilling. It has a better striker. This one is better for lashing, and it has that really nice thumb rest, better for digging down in a tight group, and they both have really nice jimping. I have to say that this jimping is probably better with gloves. Gloves with a B. Gloves. This jimping is definitely better barehanded. It feels really nice. So again, if you have gloves on, this one's going to be better in the jimping. If you don't have gloves, this one's going to be better in the jimping. So that goes there. Now, build quality. They're both superiorly done. The grinds on these are both magnificent. Just absolutely perfectly done. And fit and finish, we're going to talk about finish on the jimping, what we just talked about. Better with gloves, better without gloves. How do you use your knife? That would depend on you. The brass, the only reason you can feel the difference is because it's smooth. So you have nice textured micarta and then smooth brass. Otherwise, you can't feel where it starts and stops. That was done so well. These ones are actually set in. So while you can feel where it is, you can't feel the actual brass sticking out because they're sunk in. It's freaking awesome. There is no flaws in the fit and finish of either of these. The grinds are so well done. Just awesome. That's a tie. Build materials now. I'm going to go... This has the 1095. And this one, I can't remember if it's 1075. I don't remember on the Toki. But this one has 1095 steel with a differential heat treat, and they do have the best differential heat treat in the world. Tops just does. So I would give the edge there, but this has G10 where this has micarta, and I would give the edge there. Now it's like tiebreaker. The Toki is a much thicker knife. You get more robustness, I would say, and more structural integrity, even though this one's not going to break on you. Because of that thickness, it's a little bit more weight. You're going to know what's in your hand. So I would have to give slight edge to the Toki. Outside of that, it comes down to function. And I did full videos on both of these knives. Both have absolute awesome videos done on them. You can look them up. Function, I'm gonna you can't you're not gonna find two better knives than these working the way they work. They are just freaking awesome. And I would have to literally give it a tie there. And so you're thinking, okay, mostly tied until the fit and function, where you really just like the blade stock on this one more. That's what's going to put that one over the edge for me. If it came down to anything else, it's the sheath and the fact that I got a nice big hunk of steel, and I do like the grip on this one slightly better. I like the grip on this one better. I like the thickness of the grip better on this one. I mean, if it came down to I could only have one, if it really came down to it, because of the sheath, because of the thickness, I would, and because of that micarta, I would go with this knife, and that would be a really small pick it over it when it comes down to these two, because this knife right here is freaking phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. But when you have two knives, I mean, built, they're so very similar. So very similar. This one's even got just a little bit more blade width. I like that. But they are both tremendous knives. You couldn't go wrong with either. These are two of my go-tos. Two of the knives that I absolutely love owning. Two of the knives that I will not get rid of. And I have to say, they're even though they're a little bit different, they're pretty much equal. So if I had to pick one, it would be the Toki. If I had to get rid of one, I wouldn't. I'm not getting rid of either of these ones. They're just both fantastic knives. But if you can get one, either the Wilderness Guide from Tops or the Condor Toki, if you find them out there, and I know these are still for sale, I think these might be, jump on it. If you want a great, and I mean great, bushcraft knife, you will not find two knives better than these. So, I mean, final conclusion is just they're awesome. It's really it. These are just two badass powerhouses, and I freaking love them. So, that's it for these two, man. I mean, just, I couldn't be more happier. Bravo to the people over at Tops. I don't know who designed this one. I'm pretty sure I could just look it up and find out real quick. I do know who designed this one. Not only do I know who designed it, but I know the guy, and he is awesome. And it shows because the knife is tremendous. And I'm not giving this knife any more props over this knife because of the guy. I'm giving the guy props because of the knife. I wouldn't give two craps about what he does if he didn't design something absolutely perfect. I wouldn't care. You know, it wouldn't. This conversation wouldn't be happening the same way. It's just because the knife is amazing. Walter Matthews, yes, he's a great guy. Yes, he's a hero. Yes, he's just a awesome serviceman. But his work speaks for itself. Awesome. So these two knives I can highly recommend. The Wilderness Guide from Tops, the Toki from Condor Knives. Two great blades. I'm just rambling at this point. That's it for this one. I am Donnie. Till next video.